No, I'll wait for your comment. I'll wait. Go crazy. Type out what you want to say first before I begin. I would love to hear your thoughts before I begin. That'd be amazing. You get it out? You get it out of your system? You happy? You good? You good? You good insulting me? You gonna say black people are racist? Go crazy? Go nuts? Okay. All right, now I can talk. Let's get into it. Human societies have always organized themselves around the idea of the familiar center, the circle of faces, languages, and customs that feel like home. The warm radius, where everyone knows the rules without having to ask. Inside that circle, everything makes sense. The food tastes right because it's what you grew up eating. The jokes land because they reference the experiences you share. It's fair. The gestures carry meaning without explanation because you absorb them through years of watching people move the same way. The history of the group becomes the background rhythm of everyday life. It's a soundtrack so constant you stop hearing it until someone from outside points out how strange it sounds. I'm not used to this country. This rap is strange. What, you guys all listen to Mongolian throat singing? This is strange. That's what happens. Outside that circle that you stand in right now without your echo chamber, that stands the unknown. That's what it is. And human beings have never handled the unknown with grace at first contact. The earliest instinct of the social animal is to protect the tribe, to guard territory, to preserve the pattern that allowed survival yesterday against whether something might threaten it tomorrow. From that instinct grows a rough and uncomfortable truth: the tendency to distrust or caricature the unfamiliar appears again and again across civilizations. So it always happens, every single time. It is a feature of social psychology that every society has had to wrestle with. Xenophobia exists everywhere, and to act as if racism is not normal is strange. When you see a danger or something unnatural to your society, you consider it as dangerous of some sort. The waters, the oceans, the waves. H.P. Lovecraft had whole books about how he thought. H.P. Lovecraft was wildly racist, by the way. I just want to point that out. Despite the fact that he made Cthulhu and the entirety of Eldritch horror, he was wildly racist, by the way. Look up H.P. Lovecraft's cat's name. Wildly racist human being. Don't even want to talk about that. That's just how he is the person. But that is a very good idea and centerfold for how society has worked. This is why America is a very interesting exception in all of this, because America has centered itself as the melting pot. Reason this is interesting for America, because anthropology shows that nearly every culture built its first identity around the difference between us and them. Tribal markings, languages, clothing styles, and myths. That is what it was. They're not expressions of culture. They're the boundary lines drawn in dirt, fences to keep the shape of the group intact. In ancient times, those boundaries often meant survival. Groups competed for land, water, and safety, and the easiest way to mobilize loyalty inside a group was to emphasize the difference outside it, to make the other seem strange enough that mingling felt dangerous. A stranger entering the village was rarely greeted with philosophical curiosity or open arms. What about you, stranger? No, that never happens. More often, the stranger was treated as a question mark. You gotta investigate him. Sometimes even as a threat. You gotta remove. It's not cruel, by the way. I'm not saying it's evil. I'm saying it's normal. It's a risk assessment honed over millennia, where the wrong stranger really could mean disease, invasion, death. Anything weird or strange or odd, we have to test. We have to figure out if it's good for the society, if it's good for us as a whole. Because humans have never viewed humans as humans. We are specifics, and that's how it's always worked throughout all of history. We have never once, I'm so serious about this, we have never once just said, we're all humans. Nope. Getting to the moon was the American achievement. Doing something of this variety was a Korean achievement. That was a Chinese achievement. Oh, this right here, pizza, that's an Italian achievement. We are so obsessed with tribal warfare and cultural, just ownership of everything. It's strange. History reflects this pattern with such an uncomfortable consistency across every continent and every era. Wars erupted between people who looked, dressed, worshipped, and spoke differently all the time. That's just what happened. Often with the stated justification that the other side was less than human, barbaric, uncivilized, and somehow deserving of destruction. That's throughout all history. I'm not just talking about one specific thing. Ask a Chinese man, an old Chinese dude, how he feels about Japanese people. Ask a South Korean how he feels about North Korea. I don't know if you can ask a North Korean anything. I don't know how it works over there anyways. Ask a regular Chinese guy. I mean a regular like 45-year-old Chinese man. What are your thoughts on Taiwan? Go ahead, just ask him. Ask him. And I mean one from China. I mean like one from Beijing or something like that. Ask one. Ask one of them. Empires expanded by that metric. They expanded by declaring outsiders inferior and in need of conquest, framing domination as an improvement. Their theft, all the thievery they did, well, that's simply enlightenment. Every slaughter we did, that's progress towards expanding our empire. Long before modern racial categories even existed, society built hierarchies based on visible differences. You can look at all the Vikings, all the Norsemen, all the Geats, all of the Thorfinns, Calcephni. You can look at Leif Erikson. You can look at King Arthur. You can look at the Christian Crusades. You can look at the Indian Crusades. There's a whole thing, by the way. That's a whole thing. You can look at all these moments in history. You can look at all this. All of it. Because we have had ranking, groups, how we dealt with cultural unfamiliarity. The language changed across eras, but the structure always will remain the same, remarkably similar. The in-group defined itself as normal, natural, and right, while the out-group was always strange, suspicious, and wrong. And I'd like to show you something, if I could.
What do you think of black people?
I don't like them.
Why?
I really don't. Because I just think that they're always looking out to make trouble.
Let's get right up there.
You better turn around, y'all. Let's go back.
We were riding down this block, and these white people start saying, "Get out of here, niggas. You know, get out of my neighborhood. Don't come to this neighborhood." Then they start hitting on her.
Throwing rocks and everything else.
Throwing rocks. Because we were in their neighborhood.
We went on a bike hike to McDonald's. We didn't mean to bother anybody.
We had a nice
We saw a parade. We saw a gathering, so we went down there to see what was happening. I never even know people around here were like that. I've never experienced anything like this in my life.
And I was sure what she had. It hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face. They always say niggas are doing everything. They always say we're doing everything, right? We didn't. Every time the white people come down the block, we don't push them out their neighborhood and throw rocks and start hitting them. We don't bother the white people around our neighborhood, but when we get in a white neighborhood, they just push us out.
Yeah. Everybody with us, they with nothing, you know, they were a piece of dirt, dogs. I mean, that's the way you treat an animal. I mean, God, we're human beings.
Yeah.
You don't treat other people like that. It's just wrong. Black, white, I don't care. A person is a person. Skin should have no bearing on how you treat a person. That's just wrong.
I hate their goddamn guts.
You don't hate them.
Sweet.
I can't say that I hate them. I can't say that it's totally the kids' fault. I mean, I'm sure their parents had some bearing on the way they feel and everything else. I think it's just the system. I don't know.
How did this terrible thing affect your children? When they ask you these things, why? Why? What do you tell them?
There are good and bad in every people, every race, regardless. Tell them that we just happen to be amongst a few people whose minds are warped. And I'm not going to teach them that, regardless of how many bombs they put at this house. I'm not going to teach my children hate.
If I didn't get hilariously copyright striked, you would have seen right there how people dealt with black people back in the day. And I know it's not just black people, by the way. I'm aware of some other groups, but this is what I got right now. So this is what I'm working with. That was in 1970. That was 2026 right now. 56 years ago. Those were kids. I believe some of your parents may be around the age of 60. My dad dealt with horrifying racism. My mother dealt with insane xenophobia. She is Arabic and black. My father is Creole. You are witnessing history. That's what happened. Not even that long ago. And it's still happening to this day. But it's normal. It's so normal. Australia, Greenland, Laos, Thailand, been to Japan, been to China, I've been to Russia. I have been to basically every state besides, I believe I have not been to Oregon yet. I don't think I've been to Oregon yet. I've traveled a lot. Let's just say I've traveled a lot. I've been to the Easter Islands. I've been so many places, right? And travel, every time I've traveled, I've witnessed this quiet dynamic every day. It's the everyday way people engage with me. Anyone who crossed that border can recognize. Anybody that looks at the people can recognize. You walk into a space where you clearly stand outside the cultural norm, and you immediately feel the static in the air upon your skin. A foreigner in a largely homogenous region is obviously going to attract stares, curiosity. A lot of people asked to touch my hair. Somebody thought I was Chris Rock one time. That's what's going to happen. It's obviously going to happen. Sometimes they think I'm going to steal, which is completely crazy. I have no idea how your laws work over here. If I stole something over here, I may be in prison for 100 years. I don't know what's going on. In parts of East Asia, a visibly foreign visitor may be photographed or treated as an unusual anomaly simply because the population rarely encounters black people. That's what it is. That's it. And obviously, this reaction often comes less from deliberate hostility. It's coming from, it's just unfamiliar, right? The brain's ancient pattern matching systems flagging something that does not fit into the expected shape of the world. And I don't know your culture, I don't know what's going on, so I'm just accepting it for a little bit because, you know, I'm your anomaly. I'm your alien. Just go ahead and I'll accept that. But if you've never encountered a white person, if you've never encountered a black person, if you've never encountered an Asian person, never encountered an Indian person, never encountered a person of Hispanic descent, never encountered any of that, the imagination is going to fill itself with gaps of exaggeration. It's caricature with whatever material is available when direct knowledge is absent. When people rarely encounter another group directly, their image of that group is built from perhaps jokes, maybe rumors, stories, propaganda passed down through generations. Oh, a black man have big penis is something I heard a lot in China. I promise you, I'm not even trying to be wildly racist with that whole accent. That is the exact statement I've heard so many times. It's crazy. I'm not even above average. I think I'm rocking like 4 inches down here. I'm not even doing anything crazy. It's nuts. I have lesbian sex basically. That's what I do. I'm really good at at not penetrating is where I'm at. That's what it is. That's just getting too personal right now. Anyways, this pattern appears deeply across every continent without exception. European colonial myths distorted images of Africa and Asia into grotesque fantasies that justified exploitation and erased complexity. That's reality. American media historically reduced entire regions to stereotypes that told Americans more about their own fears than about those places being depicted. Asian cultures sometimes caricaturized Westerners in equally exaggerated ways, reducing billions of people to a handful of traits that confirm existing assumptions. When knowledge travels through rumor rather than some lived interaction, distortion is going to become what the default is, and we're going to distort everything. And that sucks. You ever hear a phrase saying that everybody grew up a little racist, right? I agree to this statement. I think everybody grew up a little racist because many people are going to grow up passing through a phase where humor or curiosity about difference crosses into crude stereotypes, and it's gonna suck. And nobody doesn't intend to mean deep harm. Nobody makes a joke and says, "Oh, I'm not trying to hurt you." They're making a joke. They're trying to make someone laugh. They're trying to communicate. They're trying to have a good time. And I think that if you are white in America, I think you grew up a little racist. I think if you're Chinese in China, you grew up a little racist. I think if you're in India, an Indian, you grew up a little racist. And this is true amongst all cultures, and I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I've spoken to people where they say things that are wildly racist, whether it be about me. If you're black in America, you may have said some racist things about Asian people. You may have done that. You may have said that. You may have been racist, inadvertently, or prejudiced more so, because everybody hates when I say racist towards white people. I'm just going to say prejudice towards white people. You may have had preconceived notions about their racial stereotypes and caricaturized them. How's that? That seem fair? We can say that about things? See, the jokes land easily because the stereotype already floats in the cultural air, already available for use without research or reflection. It circulates through schoolyards where children repeat what they heard at home, through television shows that trade in easy caricatures, through online spaces where algorithm rewards outrage over the real work of understanding another person, through family conversations where casual generalizations pass unnoticed. That's what happens. The behavior is widespread. It's not admirable, no. Societies just accept it, that their biases through everyday living. Individuals develop the tools to examine them critically in life, but not firstly. Long before anyone thinks to ask whether the joke is funny or just familiar, you just start laughing at it. Nobody has the ability to think about this stuff because they just grew up with it. It's just a natural part of society. And I don't want you to feel bad if you were racist back in the day, if you were a little bit racially motivated. I don't want you to feel like a piece of garbage. It doesn't seem fair to me for me to say, hey, you were racist back in the day. You'll never be a good person. No, I don't think that's fair. I think if you continue to choose to live in this ignorant mindset is where it gets bad. I think if someone critiques you about this and says, hey, you used to be racist, I can tell, and you get mad at it and continue to double down, I think that's bad. But I think if you accept that everybody was a little racist back in the day, and we could all improve, society can get better at an alarming rate. It really can. I want you to add this to the way modern media always rewards this conflict, this outrage culture. Nobody wants to connect. News networks discovered decades ago that outrage keeps eyes on screens longer than understanding does. I want to point this out. The reason why I've entitled this the way it is because I knew people would click on it. Right? I wanted people to hear my argument. I wanted people to hear me. So I made it wildly inflammatory so people could hear me. Political campaigns learned that painting outsiders as threats mobilizes voters more effectively than complex policy discussions. That's what Donald Trump did. Social media algorithms amplify the most extreme voices because extremity drives engagement, and the result is a digital environment where the unfamiliar is constantly presented as dangerous. The ancient tribal instinct that once scanned the horizon for actual threats now scans feeds for content that confirms suspicion, and the machine obliges by serving more of what keeps people scrolling. Now, this is very important to me. It's very important to me. Because no matter how complex or how good I speak or how well I do, if I don't rage bait you first, you will never see me. There are many times where I've made hour-long videos, or I've really illustrated my point so articulately well, where I've spoken at length about things that are very important to me, and I will get 1,000 views. Reason I'm bringing this up is because unless I rage bait you, you will not interact. Unless I piss you off, so you can feel some sense of small justification in your life, so you can feel some warmth in your soul, something in your gullet that tells you that I'm contributing to the conversation in some meaningful way to make your self-importance important to be a part of the group and the community, you don't care. You don't react to positive news in a healthy or engaging way because it doesn't get you anything. Every time you see negative news, you will react to it in a way that confirms everything around it. A lot of friends in real life right nowadays where I post something negative and they'll address me in real life and say, I had to unfollow you because you keep posting negative stuff. And I said, I don't really care if you unfollow me. You're my friend in real life. I have a lot of followers, man. It's fine. I don't care if one person unfollows me. It doesn't matter. Because I know for every one person I lose, 100 other people are going to come to follow me because they know that I make them feel important by talking about things that piss them off. It's interesting. Very interesting how that works, isn't it? It's called negativity bias, by the way. It's a primal reaction in your brain that happened back in the day for when you saw fire and you knew fire was dangerous. So you saw a poisonous mushroom and you knew it was dangerous because your brain is trained to remember negative stimuli more than positive stimuli. That's a psychological and biological reaction inside of your brain. That's how the phenomenon works. That's why you prefer negative content. That's why your algorithm sucks and you want to see negative things all the time. It's how the world works. It's how you work. How things work. Me understanding that racism is normal is not me celebrating it or treating it as inevitable. The fact that something appears across many cultures simply reveals how human psychology responds to unfamiliarity. I'm not justifying it. I'm not doing anything of that variety. The instinct to defend the group once helped small communities survive in hostile environments where resources were scarce and scavengers could not be trusted. Yet the modern world connects billions of people who share the same planet, the same atmosphere, the same fragile systems that sustain all life. Instincts that once protected villages of a few hundred now collide with the reality of global civilization where cooperation should be essential for survival. I want you to think about every resource you have right now. I want you to think about how your dishes are made in China. I want you to think about your grains, your rice, your produce, the specific milk, the specific fruits and vegetables you cannot get in America. I want you to think about all those things. We have an impressive trading system. We have an impressive culture. We have so many impressive systems designed for all of us coming together, coalescing inside of a big group. And we choose actively to say that one place is better than another when we're all equal. I do not believe that Africa is better than America. I don't think America is better than Canada. I don't think Canada is better than Asia. I don't think Asia is better than Europe, which is Eurasia. It's an entire thing. It's a whole continental thing. I don't think Italy is better than France. I don't think that. I don't. I think we're all different. We should all communicate and grow and learn to love each other in this reality because it's important. The old framework of our primitive brains does not fit the common day diaspora of how we need to react to the ecosystem of online internet communication. We are reacting with our tribal brains and rewarding that because we're still relying on tribal instinct, and it is destroying our society from the inside out. It is a rot that needs to be cut out. It's a tumor that needs to be safely removed. We can't do that unless we accept that our primal coding is bad. The challenge for humanity lies in recognizing that the impulse to divide the world into normal and strange emerges naturally from our social wiring, while also understanding that morality asks us to move beyond that instinct. That is the summary of what I just said. The same species capable of fear towards difference is also capable of curiosity. It is capable of deep empathy and learning that transforms initial suspicions into genuine connection. I need that. Civilization advances not by pretending tribal impulses never existed. They always have. I need us as a society to declare ourselves above biology and history. I need to. We need to be above our own biology. And also, you have to confront them honestly and choosing a broader vision of belonging that includes more of the circle than instinct would allow. Every person who has ever traveled and returned with expanded understanding knows this process personally, knows that the stranger who once seemed strange becomes familiar through the simple act of sustained attention. And the question I pose to you is whether societies can scale that individual transformation to the collective level, whether humanity can learn to see itself as one tribe before the tribal instincts destroy the only home anyone has. I wish it was better and different. Racism is normal. It is. It has always been normal. It will always be normal until we as a society understand that we are one race, a human race. Thank you. Have a lovely day or night wherever you're at. I'm out. Peace. Bye.
Good night, be my Laurel. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride when you